the funds don't allow access to those types of people. You have to be accredited to invest in about 95% of real estate funds. And the reason for that is because there's different regulations and marketing restrictions the SEC has. But we structured our fund to allow for non-accredited people to join because we're people's capital group, right? We're not hedge fund capital group. We're not family office capital group. We're not millionaires only capital group. We're people's capital group, and we work with all types of people, accredited, non-accredited.
We're Jacqueline and Melvin Landry, and we welcome you to our podcast, Get Diversified. Throughout these series, we'll cover all the topics and questions you have about investing in apartment buildings, storage facilities, and mobile home parks. Being knowledgeable in these areas will help you feel more comfortable about investing. Apartment investing equals building wealth. Building wealth equals financial freedom. Achieving financial freedom allows you to spend your time with building memories with your loved ones. Let's face it, time is the one element in life that is limited, and you don't want to waste it.
Hello, folks, and welcome to another episode of Get Diversified. You're back with Melvin Landry, and we have an exciting guest here that we're going to speak to today. His name is Mr. Aaron Fragnito. He's out of the East Coast, and he's a mover and a shaker in the multifamily space. So, Aaron, welcome to the show, sir. How are you?
Melvin, doing very well, my friend. Thank you so much for having me on. Glad to be here.
Hey, Aaron. Well, look, man, we appreciate you having you on the show, and we're looking forward to you kind of sharing your story, your vision, and folks you work with in the multifamily real estate space. So
Absolutely.
To kickstart us off, why don't you tell us and the listeners a little bit about you, where you're from, and hey, how'd you get into real estate?
Sure. Well, I'm a Jersey boy, born and raised. I went to Rowan University, majored in entrepreneurship there, and read a book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad my senior year of college, 2009, terrible market to graduate into. And, my college advisor said, it's a down market. You never start a business in a recession, which was bad advice, number one. Actually, it's one of the best times to start a business is in a recession. So then I said, well, what am I going to do with my life? I know that I want to own real estate. I think I have a passion for real estate. I don't know anything about it. I don't have any money. And it's the worst real estate recession in probably like 3 generations. So I made a list. I said, well, in 3 years, or actually in 10 years, I want to have $1 million in net worth and $100,000 of passive income from my real estate holdings. And so, okay, how am I going to get there? So I worked my way down. I need to make connections, raise capital, make some money myself, learn how real estate transactions work, learn how deals are structured. And I need to get into the business. So I said, why don't I start getting my real estate license, and I'll become a realtor and I'll learn how deals are done. So I did that. You would list a home, no one would call. I didn't make any money for 6 months. I finally sold some piece of crap deal I got from Staple & Signs to a telephone pole, and I made my $5,000 commission, and my broker hands me a check for $500 and says, read the fine print. I could have paid you less, buddy. So I left that broker the next day, and I worked with a broker who was working in my favor, not against me. That was a hard-learned lesson there. So, but I fast forward here. I met my business partner, Seth Martinez, and we bought a 6-unit in 2013 by, again, Staple & Sign to a telephone pole. Bought it for $220,000, put about $60,000 into it, spruced up the units, leased them out for top dollar, refinanced all our money back out in a year. Said, hey, this makes sense. We own the property. We're cash flowing on it. We're getting tax-free cash flow. It's written off with our tax depreciation. We're building in value. We got all our money back. We literally own the thing for free. What are we complaining about? And that property just appraised for 600 and or 780,000 or something. We refinanced it. I'm not 2 or 3 times that. It's just a cash cow. So still produces cash flow as well. And we have about 150 units now, about 25 million real estate holdings through the years, developed our own management company as well, which that was one of the hardest parts, developing the in-house management, which is really a key asset,
Okay, good. Fantastic. So you started off in multifamily, right? You grew and you learned the protocols in terms of bringing up the value, right? Getting cash out, taking advantage of the tax benefits. So you're starting to turn your wheels in terms of maximizing your financial capacity on it, which is good.
And, the first deal I did was actually a fix and flip. And it was a huge headache. and I did about 50 more of those through the years. And many of them were, again, huge headaches. And we were like, after a while, we were like, hey, you know what? It's actually easier, in our opinion, to buy, renovate, and refinance multifamily housing. It's a more scalable, it's a better long-term wealth strategy than fix and flipping, because I've done really well fix and flipping houses. I've made 6 figures, and guess what? The tax man comes and knocks on your door at the end of the year and says, hey, congratulations. You learned how to structure a successful business. You're making a lot of money. Now you owe 25% to us at minimum. So I realized then, I said, you know what? I know how to pay myself. You know, I was also a realtor at the time. I know how to pay myself through the refinance of assets. I've read Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I understand the strategy. I'm just not executing it. You know, I moved into a fancy condo in Hoboken, New Jersey. I bought myself a nice Audi. I was a realtor. I had a little team under me at Remax. I remember I was going through my trunk one time. I found like a $15,000 check. And I just forgot to deposit. And like, I'm thinking now, like, holy shit, I would never do that.
Wow. Did it expire?
The money was rolling in, man, and I just was spending it, and that was it. And I was kind of investing a little bit. I consciously decided to change my lifestyle to actually slow down the realtor side and invest in real estate and build my portfolio and build an investment company. But I had to take a pay cut for many years to do that. And that's what people don't understand. It's not a lucrative business to start a real estate fund in the first 5 years. It takes a minimum 5 years to get off, really more like 10, you know.
Wow. So your mindset starts to shift, right?
Yeah.
You know, you had a few early bumps in the road, right? From that respective standpoint. When would you say, at what point was it, once you flipped houses and you got those checks and the tax man came knocking on your door in terms of there has to be a better way? When did the light bulb kind of change for you in terms of, man, I can't keep doing this. I got to shift, say, to larger multifamily to scale?
You know, it was a few times. Like, I think many people, I'm hard-headed and I'm a sucker for a nice, cold, hard amount of cash in my bank account. You know, I mean, money makes us do crazy things. You know, so and you also, it's so easy to build a lifestyle. All right, there's never enough in America. There's always a nicer piece of real estate to live in. There's always a more expensive car. And I realized I was really getting caught up in that rat race. And it's like, the nicer the car you buy, the nice, you just have to go more and more and more nicer, you know, like it's never ending. Now, and I'm all a fan of enjoying your capital and, you know, enjoying nice things, having a nice place to live, a safe place to raise your family. But we really, you know, the problem with our society, sometimes we're so obsessed with material items and we're not actually focused on that. Money's a tool. It's a tool, period. End of story. It's a tool. Money is a tool. And you should use a tool to make more, right? You should use a shovel to dig a hole, right? So, and money, yes, it can be bought. You can buy luxury homes and luxury cars, but the best way to use this tool is to make more of it, to make more money. And that's how tools should be used. You know, you should chop logs with an axe, right? That's the goal. We should create lumber with an axe. So we should create more money with money. That's the tool should be used to do. And then at some point, yes, you don't have to worry about how much your car costs because you were so smart with your money and you were investing wisely through the years. And now you can afford those things you always wanted. You might actually find, I don't really need to drive a Ferrari. In fact, it's obnoxious and it's not a great daily driver. It's like, you know, so
it starts with that's funny that you mentioned that. It starts with a mindset.
Right.
At least for me, right? I mean, now, you know, I drive a 12-year-old car, is 90,000 miles, and I don't aspire to be fancy anymore. Those days are over. Now my mindset is about, hey, I got an 8-year-old, right? Generational wealth. How can I bring him along the path, right? A different path. To kind of get him thinking, right, along similar mindset that I may have, right? You know, kids, you know, our generation behind us, right? It's a different world. They don't think the same. But you know, I'm thinking about how can I kind of string him along, right? Live within your means and create generational wealth for yourself and for those who kind of come behind you. So very good tip in terms of you know, then versus now. But again, right, you know, the more you know, the more you learn, the more you grow. So
yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And there's always been get rich quick schemes. My parents tell me a story of how they talked to a guy on the train, 50 years ago, and he duped them into giving them their money, for some, exclusive investment opportunity. And they never saw me. So, there's always been like kind of get rich quick schemes and gurus. That's nothing new, but we have to recognize that at the end of the day, wealth is a long-term strategy. It's a long-term mindset. And really, it's a maturity process of saying, hey, you know what? I need to actually work for this. I need to make sacrifices to get this, or I will have a life where I'm living paycheck to paycheck. I will have that life where I'm constantly, wanting to be someone else who's on vacation or driving nice cars. To envy other people too much is also unhealthy as well, which we see in our society. We're getting off topic here, but
You're fine.
It all kind of rolls into it. We're showing the social media, this Instagram, snap of my life, but oh yeah, you know what? Actually, you had to get up, you had to go to the bathroom, you had to take a shower, you had to eat breakfast, you had to go to the gym. There's a lot behind all this, and we don't see that part of it, of course, because that's not sexy. So why would you put it on Instagram? But the truth is, running a business is hard work. Building wealth is hard work.
Yeah.
Sacrificing, hey, I'm not going to go on that really fancy vacation. I'm going to go, down the Jersey Shore this summer. Right? I'm gonna go to Pittsburgh and watch, baseball. I love going to Pittsburgh. My sister lives there. I go all the time. Yeah. You talk about affordable place to go vacation. It's definitely, there's ways to live your life, but also not break the bank, and then put that capital you're saving into the right places where you use. Yes.
Appreciate that. Let's talk about People's Capital Group, right? The mission behind you, the name of your organization, and what type of individuals do you work with in terms of investors and things of that nature? So why don't you share PCG's vision and a little bit about the intel on your organization?
Yeah, thank you, Melvin. Well, People's Capital Group, Seth Martinez and I incorporated this company in 2013.
Okay.
And our vision was to help people invest in real estate because we saw how hard it was to find a good deal, analyze 400 bad ones to narrow down a good one, bring a well-vetted opportunity to the table, work out the financing, manage the contractors, the leasing agents, the property management, do the refinancing of the sale, the exit, the construction, all these moving pieces. We're like, there's no way you can just do this on the side and work 40, 50 hours a week and commute like we all do as Americans. There's no way you're going to be able to do this all right and work a full-time job. But at the same time, you really can't stop working your job until you own like 100 units, at least to make good income. So there's no real way to, just quit your job and start buying real estate. Well, that doesn't make sense. How are you going to put food on your plate?
Food on your table. Yeah.
Oh, right. And then so there's no real way to get into owning large scale real estate unless you team up with professionals who have experience doing all the work, have the infrastructure in place, can send you monthly updates, quarterly cash flow checks, quarterly financials, and make it a completely passive income. Where you're actually going to be earning really more than you would if you had to do it all yourself. Because what I see with active investors is when they do it all themselves, they manage the property themselves, they're dealing with this and that, they're settling for a mediocre deal because they're not really sure how to get a great deal. They end up not actually making very good returns on the investment at the end of the day, and actually putting a lot of more effort than they ever planned on putting into it. And that's not a good combination. So a lot of active investors, they get to, 8, 12 units, they start saying, oh, tenants and toilets, I'm just so sick of this stuff. How do I own real estate and get all the benefits, but not have to be responsible for the tenants and toilets? And that's why we started this company. But we also recognized most real estate funds only accept accredited millionaire investors. So we said, okay, how do we structure a fund where we can accept teachers and police officers and firefighters and just everyday hardworking Americans that have $30,000 in their IRA, or $50,000 in their 401k. And you'd be amazed how many people out there, right, could do a certain age in life. You've worked a career for 20 or 30 years. You've put that away reasonably. It's pretty common. So the funds don't allow access to those types of people. You have to be accredited to invest in about 95% of real estate funds. And the reason for that is because there's different regulations and marketing restrictions the SEC has. But we structured our fund to allow for non-accredited people to join because we're People's Capital Group. right? We're not hedge fund capital group. We're not family office capital group. We're not millionaires only capital group. We're people's capital group. And we work with all types of people, accredited, non-accredited. We have an in-house property management company, and we buy here in New Jersey in high demand markets. And we get returns for our investors consistently that are double digits and far greater than what they're earning in the stock market. And we build real wealth for people. It's a great feeling.
Good, man. Fantastic outlay. And I appreciate you explaining working for the people, right? I mean,
work for the people, man. That's right. That's right. I say when you invest in people's capital group, you're my boss. You know, I got 100 bosses. Yeah.
I understand. So let's talk about the aspect you mentioned, vertical integration, right? In terms of how you've been able to leverage that. Explain for the listeners in terms of how that has been a benefit for your organization and how that differentiates you when working with people versus say someone who may not be vertically integrated. We'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, well, people say all the time, like, Aaron, why don't you go buy real estate in Texas? Or don't you have a newspaper? Don't you have internet access? You idiot. Why are you investing in New Jersey? Go to the Carolinas, go to the Midwest. You can get more real estate for your dollar, you Dumbo. And I say, well, actually, it's not just the market or the type of real estate. It's about the infrastructure, the management. See, we've bought real estate in different areas, different types of real estate. We've hired and fired 3 management companies. One was stealing money from us. We had to take them to court. We won $8,000. It's just a big waste of time. And we said, if we're going to put other people's money into real estate, we're going to put our reputation on the line, people's life savings, their IRAs into real estate. We want to make sure that we have complete control of these assets and we know exactly what's going on with them. Not an update every week from a property that's 6 states away from a management company we have a contract with. That's not it. You know what management companies can actually send false records. They can send false information. Ask me how I know this. I was tricked by a management company. They stole money from us. So that's another major flaw in real estate syndications. We're going to pull capital in New York and New Jersey, where there's a lot of capital to pull from millionaires, and then we're going to go buy real estate wherever CNBC says it's the next booming market. Now, I'm not saying that's a terrible model. Funds do great with that. I'm not saying you should never invest in a fund that invests out of state. You can still have structures in place to make it work. But personally, if it's my money and it's my investors' money, I want to own the management company. I want to know exactly what's going on with the asset. I want to be able to drive by it and see it every now and then. Our investors like that too. And our staff manages our real estate. And that's very, very different than a third-party service provider. We can hire and fire our staff. We can make immediate changes. We can really determine who's going to be our service providers. And we developed a management company that I don't think any other management company can hold a candle to. I mean, we are positioned to reposition apartment buildings. So it's not just a management company that collects the rent when it's due or calls a plumber when a pipe leaks. We take mismanaged assets. They need renovation. The tenants have bad habits. Half the people might not be paying rent. This is a mess. You know, we come into these situations and we do a heavy lift on the management. So it's not your normal management company. You know?
And these are situations, seems like you like to thrive in, right? In terms of, but you know, the worse of the situation, right? The more opportunity to upside on the back end. So I think you've realized that, and you know, don't mind kind of getting in when situations are pretty rough, but adding the necessary value to really, one, bring the value that's needed to the property, and two, hey, your investors are going to be happy, right? Because they're going to reap the benefits of the results at the end of the day.
Absolutely. That's it. Yeah.
All right. So, hey, let's talk about the notion of, you know, I'm a potential investor. I'm a little weary, but getting into real estate. But I've been to a couple of seminars. I've been on a couple of webinars. I've met a few folks, and I'm getting close, but I'm not quite there yet. What would you tell that person who's wanting to get into real estate, but maybe a little bit afraid to get in? Any advice?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's lots of different ways to go about that. I would say, you know, the most important thing is meeting the operators, working with someone you know, like, and trust. Whether you're investing in stocks, bonds, real estate, you know, cannabis, cryptocurrency, whatever it is, at the end of the day, you want to make sure you have good management in place, but an operator you like and trust, someone you really want to be making money with, right? So a lot of things I like to do to get to know people better. I go out to lunch, grab a cup of coffee, come to our networking event. We do a monthly networking event in New Jersey here with 50, 60 people out there. You can meet current investors, potential investors, different people in the industry as well. Ask for references. Don't be afraid to reach out to references and call references, even if they have a good reputation. Go to local real estate networking groups, ask about the people, ask about the funds, see if there's a bad reputation out there, some type of drama or negative review. Obviously online reviews, that's a pretty quick, easy way, but
go a long way.
Yeah. But I wouldn't say just immediately invest in the biggest firm either. Like, you look at some of these big guys like NRIA, and I'll say their name because they're like one of the biggest companies in this space, and it should be recognized. They filed bankruptcy. They also had higher ups taking money, just siphoning money from the accounts illegally, and they ran off out of the country with it. So, obviously there were some bad apples. I'm sure there are plenty of good people there, and I'm sure parts of the certain investments they made were great, but they made some bad investments too, and they spent too much on raising capital. I remember talking to a hedge fund manager, and he said, I just met with NRIA. They flew me out to their office in Manhattan. They had a limo come and pick me up, put me at a 5-star restaurant, wine and dine me for 3 days. It was an amazing event. They must have spent $20,000 on me and my team. We're going to be investing with them. And he said, what you should consider is doing something like that for our fund, and we may consider investing with you. And I said, listen, I understand that's a nice experience. I honestly wish we could do something like that for you, but that's not really what we're doing right now. We're talking about our infrastructure, our returns to investors, our past performance. If you want to be wined and dined, like, I get it. Fund managers obviously everyone wants to be wined and dined, but he focused on the wrong thing. I spoke to that fund manager later. His money is tied up in bankruptcy court. He's extremely disappointed in the investment. And I'm pretty sure I kind of said, I told you so, without saying I told you so. I was like, well, good thing he wined and dined you. He got a free steak out of it. But like, that's it. I told you so, right? Like, I don't have to impress investors that much. Our reputation speaks for itself. Our track record speaks for itself. In fact, if someone's trying to wine and dine you that much, they may have something to hide, my friends. I mean, that's the worst. You have a salesperson who's like overselling. You're like, right, I got it. Okay. So anyway, what you want to do is make sure you're invested with people that have a good track record, make you have a good feeling as well. And at the end of the day, you don't have to go with the biggest guys out there, because a lot of times the reason they're so big is they take all their money and they put it into marketing, and they have no money left, to actually run the business the right way and buy the right deals. Sometimes marketing for money, not marketing for deals, right? So yeah, it's about the operator. And I think local too. People like investing locally. You don't have to invest locally for a passive investment. In fact, you can diversify over many markets. It's one of the great benefits of passive investing, and you should. But invest locally to start. It's nice to invest locally. Find a local syndication, or find one that maybe is somewhat local to you, and or invest in areas that kind of grew up around as well. A lot of people that invest with us like grew up in Jersey. Maybe they moved out of state to build their career elsewhere, but they know the city. They know Newark, New Jersey. They know Jersey City. They know Patterson, New Jersey, Plainfield. They grew up around these areas. They saw them kind of flourish, and now they want to get in on those properties in those areas where there's a lot of value growth, and we can allow them to do that.
Yeah, like the old saying goes, there's opportunities in every market. You just got to know where to find them.
Got to know where to find them, exactly. And it's really all more about the operator than the market. Yeah.
Good. Yep. Thanks for sharing that, man. Operator is key, right? When we kind of talk about having the trust, right? To know how to execute the business plan, right? Execute the business plan will bring smiles to your investors' faces, right? Because you're doing what you said you were going to do. Right. And that's one of the reasons why they decided to invest with you at the very beginning. So absolutely great points in regards to that. Let's talk about the notion of advice given to you, right? You're ramping up, you're growing, right, in this space. As you kind of started and matriculated in your journey, what was some of the best advice that someone may have given to you that has led the way to the growth you're dealing with today?
Sure. I just wish I followed this advice more. Use the word no more than use the word yes, right? Think about the most successful business person you could think of, right? When I do it, like Elon Musk comes to mind for me, right? He's just a rock star, right? So you think Elon Musk says yes to a lot of stuff? he probably uses the word, hey, Elon, can you come speak at my event this Friday? No, I'm not gonna, no, right? Or whatever it is. Hey, do you want to invest in this company? Hey, do you want to spend your time doing this? No, laser focused on what needs to be done to build his business and his career to the next level, and his wealth to the next level. So use the word no more than use the word yes. The word no is not really that popular these days, right? And people aren't used to being told no. In fact, if you tell them no, some people go crazy. Some people are like, oh my God, I must have you. I must learn more about what you do. I will invest with you. I will, what can I, you said no to me. That's incredible. So it's important to use your time the right way. And I'm guilty of this too, right? Where should we go? What speaking engagement should I take on? What, phone call should I answer? I have clients all the time, or potential clients, that will schedule a call with me. They won't pick up the call. I'll leave a voicemail. I'll text. My telemarketer they'll call me again. They'll schedule another call. They won't pick up the call. I'll leave a voicemail. I'll text. You know what? If they don't pick up 2 scheduled calls with me, you know what I do?
Not that important. Yeah.
I say no. My telemarketer is not going to ever call you again. I'll leave you on my email list. That cost me about 1 cent. But I'm not going to give you my time because it's too valuable. And if you work out your time and like what you really actually get paid per the hour, and I don't get paid by the hour. Fine. I don't get paid by the hour either. I get paid from the refinance of my assets. I don't even pay myself a salary. But at the end of the year, I can say, okay, I work, 55 hours a week. I took off 3 weeks. I made, this amount of income, so I made, you work it out. Okay. Yeah. This is how much I make per hour, right? Whatever that amount is, say it's $50. Think about it. Okay, that call with that person, would you pay $50 to talk to that person, right? Because if it's a waste of your time, and it's an hour-long call, right? Would you pay $50? You got to think about your time that way. Because if you're wasting it, you're paying it out to that person, or you're going to pick up a call from, some person who's trying to sell you a product, you really don't need for your company.
Really don't need or want, yeah.
Right. Don't even want to get off the phone. It's unless, of course, it's my telemarketer, then you just stay on the phone.
Gotcha. So the value of time, realizing the appreciation of your value of time and using it accordingly to kind of help progress your goals, your interests, and eventually, your life, right? That's one of the most keen variables that I think many folks take for granted, right? From that standpoint. And it's a critical measurement from a success standpoint. So Aaron, in closing, man, you're on a growth trajectory right now. What's the plans and growth for 2023 to 2024? What's on your radar? What are you looking at? And man, what are some high profile goals you have going into the next into 23 and the next 12 months into 24?
Sure. Yeah, Melvin. Well, I'm pretty excited, man. I am. I know there's a lot of clickbait out there and naysayers and this and that, but we are in a good market here in New Jersey. We really are. We buy good deals. I know rates are going up and markets are expected to go down. Fine. You know what that's called? A healthy market, people. It's called a healthy market. It's called a buyer's market. Let's not be scared, okay? If you can remember back to 2012, 2013.
We were younger, how the rates were.
The fastest I've accelerated my real estate wealth was in a down market, right? The best deals are made in a down market. I just regret not buying more assets when the pandemic hit 2.5 years ago or so, right? When stocks dropped down 30% for 2 weeks, right? Oh my gosh, you should just been buying and buying and buying. Just wish I was more liquid at the time. But it really, that's the most important thing. Let's recognize that people are scared right now. The media just wants you to click on their article or watch the show. That's what they want. That's how they get paid. They're a business too. So recognize that. Yep. And everyone's just trying to get you to click. So at this point, everyone's scared. And as Warren Buffett says, when others are scared, be greedy. Right. Be greedy. And right. So there we are. So I'm putting together a war chest. I'm looking for deals. I just bought a $4 million asset in a great market for a great price with rents 35% below market value. We got a line out the door, the lease to play, there's when people can't afford to buy a home, they don't sleep on a park bench. They rent. They rent a home, right? They rent an apartment. They don't sleep on a park bench. So everyone's like, oh my God. No, you know what's going to happen? Right now, if you have a rate of 3% and it's a 5-year ARM and your rate's going to reset tomorrow, it's going to reset to about a 7.5, right?
Give or take.
Yeah. Yep. You're in a tight spot. So you're going to call up a realtor. You're going to sell the property. guess what? You're going to get like 80 bids on that property if it's priced at fair market value, right? So you're going to sell the property, right? In 2008, 2009, the realtor would list the property, no one would call. And that was the problem. The buyer would put in an offer. He'd go to the bank to get the loan. The bank would say no. The next bank, every bank would say no. That's the problem. Now you go to a bank to get a loan for an apartment building. They're like, thank God we have a customer. No one walked in the door for the last 2 months because we're at 7%. What can we do to give you money? Right. Yeah. The banks are ready to lend. They're eager to lend. The seller, right? Yeah, he's going to sell it. Guess what? He just gained 20% in property value in the last 2 years. So he could be the worst freaking landlord in the world and still have equity. Okay, the realtor, you could be a Dumbo realtor right now. Put it on the MLS with some pictures. You're going to get 80 calls. You're going to get offers. Just price it reasonably well. The market's healthy. This is a healthy market. Everyone's like, oh, foreclosure, oh, debt resetting. Yeah, you know what that's going to do? Put some inventory on the market so I can buy some real estate. Let's go.
Love it. Love the closing with let's go. Yeah, man. I mean, you know, and again, the media, right? The media paints this solemn picture, but you know what? When times are down, be ready to roll in terms of looking for opportunity. There's always going to be opportunities, right? Just got to know your market, know where to find them, and execute on them accordingly. So, man, that was some great stuff, man. So great nuggets of information, great piece of advice as well that the listeners should, hey, take to heart. Aaron loves New Jersey. He loves his market. He knows his market. He invests in his market. I love Western PA, right? I like my market. I invest in my market as well, right? Contrary to what others may say. So for those out there who may be listening, looking to invest in your respective market, it's not on everybody's map like the Texas and the Floridas of the world. Look, there's deals in every market. Just look and be diligent and know where to find them.
Absolutely,
Aaron,
friend.
Man, look, this has been a great conversation. Good to understand and learn more about your goals. Working for the people, right? People's Capital Group.
That's right.
And ensuring that you're taking care of your investors. I'm seeing you out there, man. I'm seeing the marketing, and folks in New Jersey must be happy. And hey, man, keep doing what you're doing. Keep growing in this space and keep following the model. You have a model for success, man. It's definitely good to chat with you, bro.
Thank you, Melvin. I really appreciate it, my friend. Great to be on here. Thank
you very much.
And yeah, people want to follow us. Yeah.
One more thing.
Go to our website. So yeah, I do weekly podcasts. I do monthly webinars. We have monthly in-person networking events. So it's all peoplescapitalgroup.com. We have ebooks out there as well, blogs, tons of content. You know, we don't sell coaching or boot camps or anything like that. We just help people invest in real estate. But our website's a wealth of opportunity there, wealth of information, and we've invested like $100,000 in it and different products. It's really a great website. So peoplescapitalgroup.com.
There you go. We'll make sure that's in the show notes. And Aaron, we appreciate you taking your time at your busy day. And on behalf of myself, my wife, Jacqueline, the Moreland Equity Capital Group team, thank you very much, sir. Appreciate you, man.
Thank you.
All right.